Hidden History, Ideology, and Critique. Rachel Wilson's Occult Feminism, The Secret History of Women's Liberation, Kindle Edition 2023, is a provocative exploration of the spiritual and cultural roots of modern feminism, arguing that its origins are intertwined with occult traditions and esoteric thought. Wilson traces the development of feminist movements from the late 19th century onward, highlighting how certain strands of feminism were influenced by occult philosophies, spiritualism, and alternative belief systems. She contends that these influences shaped not only the rhetoric of liberation, but also the underlying worldview that redefined gender, family, and society. The book positions itself as both historical and polemical, aiming to uncover what Wilson sees as hidden connections between feminism and occult practices. She argues that these connections have contributed to a broader cultural shift away from traditional values, and that understanding this history is essential for grasping the trajectory of women's liberation movements. Extended themes and analysis. Occult Roots of Feminism. Wilson explores how esoteric traditions and spiritual movements intersected with feminist thought. Redefining liberation. Feminism is presented not only as a social movement, but as a spiritual reorientation. Critique of modernity. The book argues that feminism's occult influences contributed to destabilizing traditional family and societal structures. Hidden histories. Wilson emphasizes that mainstream narratives often overlook these spiritual dimensions. Cultural consequences. The blending of occult and feminist ideas is framed as reshaping Western culture and values. Style and atmosphere. Wilson's prose is direct, polemical, and research-driven. The atmosphere is investigative, blending historical narrative with cultural critique. The tone is designed to challenge conventional understandings of feminism by presenting an alternative lens rooted in spiritual history. Climax and resolution. The climax builds as Wilson uncovers connections between feminist leaders and occult traditions, arguing that these influences were not incidental but foundational. The resolution affirms her thesis that feminism as it developed cannot be fully understood without acknowledging its spiritual and esoteric dimensions. Practical insights. Historical awareness. Readers are encouraged to examine feminism's origins beyond political and social contexts. Critical perspective. The book invites reflection on how spiritual ideologies shape cultural movements. Cultural analysis. Wilson situates feminism within broader shifts in Western thought and values. Core message. At its core, occult feminism is not simply a history of women's liberation, it is a critique of its spiritual foundations. Wilson argues that feminism's occult influences have profound cultural consequences, and that recognizing these roots is essential for understanding the movement's trajectory and impact.